Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name's Steve and today got a little bit of a treat for you guys with the Series 3 Neca Pacific Rim figures and random Series 2 Gypsy Danger because I haven't opened them yet. So I figured, hey, why not, we'll throw them in with the lot here. Now, initially when I got these figures was a few weeks ago, but since the new Godzilla figures came out, we were originally going to be reviewing these, but since we got those things, we decided to go with those first because they were newer and not as many people were putting out reviews of them. But now that we got into the Godzilla line, we could finally show off the Pacific Rim figures because I've been wanting to open these guys forever and it bothers me that these things are still in the packaging. So, yeah, so for our first figure that we're going to be opening, we're going to be doing the Kaiju Trespasser. This is from the Series 3 line of Pacific Rim figures that we've been getting from Neca. And I gotta say, I've been really excited about getting this figure, mainly because it's the original Kaiju that we got to see in the movie. It's one that was destroying what I believe is the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco and goes on a rampage through the entire city and through most of the United States for 6 days until it's finally taken down by the United States military and took out, I believe, was what they said was tens of thousands of casualties, which doesn't really seem to be that big of a number when you figure it's already gone through one major city and whatever else was in its path. But, what do I know? Another thing that I really want to point out with these guys is I'm really glad that they decided to do more upscaled versions of these figures, because originally when we got the knife head from Series 1, he wasn't a very good scale in comparison to all the other Yagas, especially Gypsy Danger, where in the movie he seems to be at least slightly bigger than Gypsy. And for the figure that we got, he was actually a decent size smaller. And from what I found, or at least from what I've heard, is he was supposed to be a Walmart exclusive, which is why they decided to go with a smaller scale to keep the price cheaper. And granted, this guy's a little more money, but I would much rather pay a little more money for something with a good amount, or at least what appears to be a good amount of articulation. And it scales very well with all the other figures in the series. So for the packaging, it's pretty much what we get with the Series 1 and Series 2. In the top, we get the nice image of the logo. In the bottom right hand corner, we get an concept art image of Trespasser with his name. On the bottom of the packaging, we get the copyright information and all the people that helped to release these figures with Neca and Real Toys. On the back of the packaging, we get a nice image of the figure with the background. And also, usually on the top, they have the category of the Kaijus here, which you're not going to see it on him because he was the original Kaiju, so I guess he'd be considered Category 1, or I'm not really sure how you'd scale this guy. I'm really excited to get this guy out of the packaging. Let's open him up as plastic prison. Now, one thing I gotta say is Neca is so good at molding. Like, for starters, detailing on his head is amazing with his 4 eyes as well as sharp teeth. And then the inside of his mouth, he's got, let me get his head up so you can open it up a little more. He's got the nice yellowing effect, so we get what's reminiscent of the lighting from the movie. He has a lot of yellow tribals going up and down his body, which we'll get to in a little bit because I got a few little nitpicks of this figure. He's got this huge backpack on his head, which is a lot different than what we got with Knife Head, with the tiny little crest he has and his little claws. The detailing has arms with all the scaling effects and all the muscle definition in his arm, and the cool little skeletal look here with the giant open gap. And how huge his hands are. These jet black nails, and they're actually pretty sharp. He's got his little hands down, alien hands down here, which actually move his term around, which is awesome. And then he's got this cool crest here, which really makes him bulk up compared to what we got with Knife Head. Which, granted, Knife Head is like my favorite Kaiju in the film, but this guy is just massive looking, which I'll bring him in for a comparison in a minute. And then for his legs, he's got the nice little crocodile crest going up and down it. And then the nice little detailing on his feet with the black jet black claws there too. And then his tail with the pointed little end. Now I know this guy's gotten a little bit of complaints because a lot of people say that he's just a Knife Head reskin. And to bring in Knife Head for a comparison, overall there's a decent amount of differences between the two guys. Some of the similarities are with the arms are the exact same molding, even though this one's got a little bit of a different coloring in the tribals. And from the waist down here is the same with the legs where it connects up here at the tummy. and the tails are all the same molding. And that's pretty much it for the comparisons between these two guys. Well, what's different is you can see here with Knifehead, he's got these really big neck straps and this separation right here where they connected it to the neck, while Trespasser doesn't have that at all. He's got a tiny little neck. Also, the head molding's the head molding is definitely different. That's pretty much what separates these two guys. And then the backpacks here are just extraordinarily different. Like this one's a lot more leaner looking and shiny, while this one's just ginormous and flat, and I just love it. Now for his articulation, his head rotates all the way around, and it's got a little bit of an up and down motion. Same with his mouth, opens up and down. And pretty much the higher you have the head up, the more it opens up, which is really cool. His arms move up and down, and they can rotate 360 degrees. His arm also rotates around, and it has a little bit of a bend. Main problem is though, is that it doesn't bend a lot because of the way the arms are. As you can see, the molding comes down a bit, so it really restricts the movement here. And his hands also got that little bit of problem where they move a little bit up and down, but they got a really good range of motion all the way around. And then, as I mentioned earlier, his hand moves. It can move back and forth, and it rotates. Pretty sure it's on a bulge. It's not really on a ball joint. It's got a little bend there. But it's got a lot of movement compared to with the stationary hand we got last time. And his hand moves. Moves up, rotates all the way around, and has a little bit of a bend to it. And for his legs, it moves back and forth, and you get a little bit, you can move it in and out just a tad. And the knees got a bend to it, and they can also rotate. And the same with his feet, got a little bit of a pivot, which is nice, and it's the exact same as on this side. And his tail is made of a more rubber material and has the wire that goes into it, so it bends, which is nice. I wouldn't probably mess around with this too much because out of experience, after enough wear, the wire tends to pop out. I haven't seen it with these guys, but I know on all the other stuff like this, I've had that problem before. Not saying from Neca, but just in general. Now for a few of my little nitpicks on this guy. For starters, in the movie, the yellowing on here is a lot more subtle than what we see here, where it's the bright yellow. While there, it's kind of hard to see with all the smoke and everything going on, but you can barely see the yellow lines coming up, which for the film, it worked good for me because it helps to differentiate the kaijus, but on the action figure, I really actually like that they went with the brighter yellow because it helps make it pop, which I could see some people might have a little bit of complaint, especially like for the comic book they released that's prior to the film. He doesn't even have the detailing at all. And another thing to point out that from the comic that's a little different is he doesn't have the armhole here, which in the film it's really hard to see if it's actually supposed to be there. Like, it looks like it's supposed to be there, but the scene that you get a good look at his arms is after he's finished smacking at the jets flying past, and the arm is more up like this, so you can see where the definition is, but you don't really, it's not blatantly there, which I've seen it in a lot of the concept CGIs that it's actually there, so I'm assuming that it's there. If you guys want to leave a message in the comment just to help inform me of that, I would appreciate it. I still like the actual hole here, but I'm just not sure if it's really actually supposed to be there. For the axe head, what you see in the film, he's got a lot of pivoting in here, just like how with Knifehead, where it's not exactly a smooth edge here. That's how it is in the film, while here it's a really smooth axe head, which again is not a huge problem for me, but it's just, it might have been nice if they could have just indented this a little bit, because it looks like that he got smashed up with a baseball bat just going across here in the film. So, and then one other thing is his arms, even though they got a really nice range of motion here, they don't bend in, so he has this what looks like he's going to give you a hug kind of pose, and it's really hard to get him getting anything other than a decent just like smacking and going up pose, where he's just like, I want to cuddle. Give me a hug. For some comparisons, here's Trespasser trying to give Eureka Striker a hug, And here he is standing next to the Kaiju Leatherback, which I think is actually a really good scale for these guys. And I'm really happy that they went with an upscale version of this, just so that all the other figures look really good in this line next to each other. And here he is standing next to another random Kaiju with the SH Monster Arts King Ghidorah, which this guy is amazing. So overall, I am very happy with the way this figure came out. Neca does a really amazing job with this figure line. I'm really glad that they're bringing us a lot more of the Kaijus, especially with Skinny Trespasser. It doesn't bother me at all that this guy is pretty much a little bit of a different remold of Knifehead, mainly because this guy is the original Kaiju and Knifehead is a future clone of this guy, so it works for me in the Mythos and with the toy line here. And even though I have a couple minor complaints with the really bright yellowing and the whole I need a hug kind of thing going on with this guy, it still doesn't really distract me from buying this figure or any of the future figure lines that are coming out with this. And I'm very happy to have this guy in my collection. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys have this guy in your collection already, or were you guys thinking about picking him up, or just giving a pass on this guy in general? I really recommend picking this guy up, but I would really like to know what you guys think of it. And if you guys like this video and want to see more of it, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.